The word of the day is Testify. And folks, that's what's about to happen with the good men and women of Lucasfilm. And the bad ones too. And you decide whether or not you think Kathleen Kennedy lands in either of those categories. But she's on the list. Gina Carano's lawsuit going forward, and now big, huge names in Hollywood, well, they're going to have to tell the truth. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, the place that brings sanity to your every single day. We are pulling Hollyweird back to the sensible center, the mainstream middle, kicking and screaming, but we want them to make money again. Joining us today is Jonas J. Campbell, investigative reporter for thatparkplace.com. Welcome back, sir.
So good to be here to testify. Anyways.
Testify. All right, well, that's what they're going to be singing over at Lucasfilm. Let's dive in, folks. As we do, click that like button. And if you ever want to support us beyond, click on that link in the video description for Vacation Radio and listen in. We love it. All right, Hollywood reporter Winston Cho, the author, Gina Carano calls for Pedro Pascal, Kathleen Kennedy to testify over Mandalorian firing. The actress claimed that Disney discriminated against her by turning a blind eye to politically charged posts from her male co-stars. And that's just the beginning. Gina Carano's legal battle over her firing from The Mandalorian could feature a star-studded cast of witnesses, including Pedro Pascal, Jon Favreau, and ex-Disney chief executive Bob Chapek. By the way, Jonas, there were a lot of people who said this was a nothing burger, and I would just suggest that if your sources that you listen to daily, everybody, if they told you that this was a nothing burger, if they told you, wah, so sad for Gina, but she lost, get out of here, loser, if that was their take, and now we're in this situation, you need to reassess your sources. In a joint filing from the ex-MMA fighter and Disney, Carano pointed to those names as potential witnesses that could be called to testify in her case. She also included Bear Grylls, Lucasfilm president, and this is the big one, Kathleen Kennedy, and Lynn Hale, the engineer of the publicity campaign behind Star Wars. The July 26th court document previews issues to be raised in the trial, tentatively scheduled for September 25th, 2025, such as whether Carano was under contract on February 10th, 2021, when Disney purportedly terminated her for voicing right-wing opinions on social media. And that's where the Hollywood Reporter goes off the rails, because Gina Carano was not espousing right-wing opinions. She was espousing centrist opinions. And THR so far out in one other direction that they can't identify that correctly. All right, Jonas, this is going to be going on for a while now. We've got more than a year of testifying and depositions and all of that. Walk us through who are some of the big names that we might get critical information out of, and what's the damage here? What's the visibility damage that Disney could face?
Well, I think what we've all been talking about, if this goes to Discovery, which it is going to Discovery, it sounds like, that they'll be asked to provide information on both sides. I'm going to say the information provided by Gina is probably going to be less damaging than the information that Disney will be forced to provide here. If we just go down that list of people, obviously United Talent Agency, that is the agency that dropped Gina within just a few hours of her being fired from The Mandalorian.
And so let me just pause that. Jonas, what you're saying is that UTA and Disney may have been a coordinated movement, and that would be a major problem for the defense.
Yes, absolutely. And IDPR, I spoke with someone. I didn't have full confirmation of this. I need to get full confirmation. But IDPR, I believe that's also the PR firm that would have been handling her stuff. If you go to their website, it is literally an eyeball, and every time you click it, it changes to a different eyeball. It's a very strange website, but they've been doing public relations in Hollywood for a very long time. Jon Favreau, obviously director of The Mandalorian. Pedro Pascal, the guy who is that does the voice of The Mandalorian at this point. Kathleen Kennedy, obviously head of Lucasfilm. Bob Chapek. There are a lot of people that were hoping that Bob Iger would testify here at this. I don't think that would ever happen. But Bob Chapek is, as I understand it, actually on the email chain where they're discussing the events that happened in January related to the election. And then they deviate to talk about Gina Carano and talking about her Just to give an indication of how chaotic this is. They were talking about political procedures in the United States, and then later in that email chain, also how they're going to handle Gina Carano here.
So that would be almost a that would be caught red-handed, right?
I do believe so. Now, speaking of which, Lynn Hale was head of communications for Lucasfilm for a very long time. She's since retired. The Bear Grylls one, that's more interesting. So Bear Grylls, obviously the host of National Geographic shows like forgive me, I know who he is by reputation more than I do by the name of his show. He is the one that goes out and does like survival things. So he'll go out.
Seems to be a legit guy. Actually does the real deal. But
right.
Yeah, they did not treat Gina well there either, right?
Gina was on an episode, and they removed all references to her from the description of the episode, and they might have pulled the episode at some point.
They tried. They tried.
And Bear Grylls made a stink about it and got them to put it back up. So I see what you're putting up here. Do you want to?
I think we should. This is very interesting, and that is, and you've posted this on X, that apparently there are no efforts right now to settle this at all, which is really something. You would have thought that Disney would have already had this prepared and been offering big bucks to keep this private, especially given what you're referring to. I mean, we're talking about emails that go all the way up to the CEO of the company at that time. And by the way, that CEO seems to have been someone under great duress from the current CEO. And we're talking about them talking politics when they should be talking shop, and then shifting to how they're going to handle dissidents in politics. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that a company would do anything in their power to hide. Doesn't seem that any settlement efforts are happening.
Right. And this is as of July 26th. So a few days before we're recording this on July 31st. And I would have assumed that a big offer would have been made very soon after, because a company like Disney does not like to have their dirty laundry aired, and Discovery would be a way to avoid that. Now,
and there's there's extra public damage here because the public perception and reception of Kathleen Kennedy and others around Lucasfilm is terrible. So this will give vindication to channels such as this, channels such as Nerdrotic, channels such as Valiant Renegade, Flash, Midnight's Edge. You get the idea. They do not want to feed that machine. And that machine is a truth-telling journalistic effort on YouTube. They don't want to feed that.
I agree, but at the same time, they feed it so very well, whether or not they intend to. Obviously, these tweets that come out of the main Lucasfilm account that say you can be any kind of species in the world, but don't choose to be a racist, if we're using the funny pronunciations today. These are the fires that are being fueled by Lucasfilm by accusing people who don't like their content of liking it for some ulterior motive other than, maybe the quality of that content is not what people have come to expect from Star Wars. There's, of course, some names that are missing from that list of witnesses, or I should say depositions at this point, because we are a long way from this being a witness list. There's even, in fact, a proposed schedule here. Carrie Beck is a name that Lucasfilm puts forward. That is, I'm not sure the progression here. She's pretty high up, that Carrie Beck. She is, I believe, their head of live production, used to be head of animation, I believe. Paul Roeder, I believe he's now an executive vice president for communications for the Walt Disney Company at this point. So Carrie Beck and Paul Roeder, I do believe that Carrie Beck would have been involved in the decision to fire Gina, but I don't think that she is the inflammatory person that they'd be looking for otherwise. One name that I was asked about is, will Mark Hamill be asked to testify? I don't know why Mark Hamill would have anything to do with this other than that he was on set for obviously for that season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. But he is relevant to this conversation because the entire conversation is about, it's referenced in the articles and also in the documents that Pedro Pascal compared people of a certain political party here in the United States to people of a political party over in Germany, and the leaders of that political party to the leaders of the political parties in the United States. Mark Hamill frequently engages in, well, let's say, I'll say bad faith political speech. I don't think that's overstating it. His tweets will come up, and in fact, in this document, they say that they will be bringing up Mark Hamill and Pedro Pascal's tweets in the court proceedings here. So,
sure. Well, you might want Mark Hamill to give a deposition, because you would be curious: has Mark ever been coached or given information regarding what's allowed versus not allowed in terms of politics online?
Right.
Has he ever received any kind of pushback? Has anyone ever at Lucasfilm said, you went too far, Mark, don't do that again?
Well,
you would want to know those sorts of things.
And the question then becomes at this point, and I don't want to go too far down the Mark Hamill rabbit hole on someone else's channel here, but there are indications that he's getting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 to 6 figure sums as a political operative.
Well, at the same time, we believe that he's been hired to play Luke Skywalker or to facilitate the appearance of Luke Skywalker in the Mandalorian movie.
Right.
So that's a clear, and it's the Mandalorian movie. So it's a clear example of what Carano is alleging, if it turns out to be true. And I just want to go over very quickly, because some folks here are brand new and they've not been following along with us for the more than a year that we've been covering this issue. Here are the substantive issues that are listed out. According to the legal filings, the parties disagree whether Carano was employed by Disney. And so that's a major disagreement, and it'll be interesting to see, what does California, the state of California, do if she's promised something, but it's not down in paper yet, but maybe there are some things that are down in paper. We don't know that yet. It'll be fascinating to watch. Parties similarly disagree whether Carano applied for any employment at Disney, such that Disney could have refused to hire her, as Carano contends. The parties further disagree whether Carano was treated differently than her similar situated male co-workers. And so this is going to be, I think, the crux of the matter. And additionally, the parties disagree that Disney may reinstate Carano to her prior position. Now, that one, I think, is there to make the settlement almost impossible. I think that's a strategic move. But maybe Gina wants to come back and play Cara Dune. Maybe just to stick it to Kathleen Kennedy. And you might see, Jonas, by the time this thing's over, Kathleen Kennedy, she has to retire at some point. This thing doesn't go to trial until next year. Maybe there is a point down the road where Kathleen's out, the leadership at Lucasfilm is gone, and Gina steps back in and gives a wink into the camera and walks into the sunset. I don't know, but it's listed here in the legal filing.
That part in particular is fascinating to me. Now, on the requested evidence list for discovery is any plans for Rangers of the New Republic. So this is specifically referenced in this document to say, we want to know all of your communication based off of that production. Ooh, and
that's bad for Disney.
I think so too, because I think it's, if not hinted, it's been made pretty clear that Cara Dune was probably going to be the main character of Rangers of the New Republic, which is,
I bet there's concept art with her in it.
I would be willing to bet they do go that far when they're trying to court someone and make them happy to be there. Or maybe a concept artist would just say, well, we know who it's supposed to be, so we're just going to go ahead and put them in the concept art instead of imagining some other person.
Yep. In this if you're trying to persuade, if you're trying to win, there's nothing better than something that is visually impactful. Concept art, if it was conducted and achieved, that has Gina in Rangers of the New Republic, which never came to actually be a show after she was fired, it was let go. If that appears and it's got concept art behind it, whoa, look out, Lucasfilm, you're in trouble.
So this to me, I think it'll be interesting, to say the least. We'll be looking forward to covering it here or on that Park Place. It's going to be a long time before they get there. I think there's a scheduling, some kind of scheduling procedure coming within the next month, but we're not going to see the actual trial until probably September of next year.
Now, all of that said, Jonas, we could get some inklings of what's happening behind the scenes, and we could get some deposition information. We could get some discovery information ahead of time. And so this could be a very long drip against Disney. And here's the really painful part. if this thing goes to trial in September 2025, and if we know the way that the judicial system works, and we believe that there could be possibly delays, Jonas, we could be looking at a situation where Disney is going to trial against Gina at the same time they're trying to market the Mandalorian movie or even release the Mandalorian movie, and that would be a PR nightmare for the House of Mouse and for Chatty Cathy.
That would be that would be a problem, I would say, to have one of the most popular characters in what is supposed to be one of the most popular shows on Disney Plus. It's now faded since then, and Percy Jackson has taken its place. Just a reference for anyone who is, I suppose, aware of Percy Jackson but not a huge fan of it. Yes, Percy Jackson took the place of The Mandalorian as the most popular show on Disney Plus, despite the fact that that show kind of just came in and poof, and then left. We sometimes exist in our bubbles here, but
I think that speaks more to how much The Mandalorian has fallen. And by the way, Jonas, we reported, we do this quite often, folks, and we don't make stuff up. I'll say that. We reported very early on that we thought that season 4 of The Mandalorian was gone. It appears to be gone. I haven't heard anything about season 4. There's no info about production. There's no release schedule, nothing, nada. And I think it is accurate what we talked about before now. Looking very likely there is no season 4 of The Mandalorian, and it's just going to be the movie. So
right. It's not gone, except that it is reborn as the Mandalorian Grogu movie. Right.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, folks, if you want to have more of that track record, you should check out Jonas J. Campbell over on That Park Place, where they do phenomenal work into all things entertainment and places you should go and have fun doing so. Jonas, you've got a live show later today. Tell the folks out there what it is you're covering.
That's very true. We are going to be covering, we do these every now and then, Epic Universe. Once in a generation, they announce a new theme park in the United States on the scale of a Disney or of a Universal Studios. And Epic Universe is doing their last reveal for Epic Universe. That is the Harry Potter land, otherwise known as like the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic, the land that was supposed to be about Fantastic Beasts back in the day. But they said, oh, wait, we want people to actually show up to this, so let's make it about Harry Potter. A giant indoor land, possibly the largest indoor land at a theme park in the United States. And the rest of these drops, whether it was that Dark Universe, which is all about Universal Monsters, or Super Nintendo World, Isle of Berk, the How to Train Your Dragon land, they've all been great reveals. So we're looking forward to going through that at, 2 p.m. Eastern Time today. You want to be there and let your nerd flag fly. So be there and be square.
Sounds great to me. And folks, you want to go over there and check it out. We'll have it posted right here on the WDW Pro Channel. So if you can't find it, go to the WDW Pro Community tab and we'll have it linked for you. Folks, go from being a passive listener to an active engager in this kind of content. Click that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment right on down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we always say at the end of these, because we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
This is Wilton the Troll reporting for That's Park Place, and I'm surrounded by loving and adoring people who are peacefully trying to make sure that poor kids aren't cold in the winter. And just behind me, you can see a totally natural bonfire for baking cookies or making marshmallows.
Yeah, so, Wilson, we really appreciate the effort and stuff, but we're looking for real and, accurate news reporting on That Park Place.
So not like most news outlets, huh?
No.